let's hop into Google Classroom. Google Classroom Basics. So why do we use Google Classroom? Most teachers use Google Classroom for 3 reasons. The first reason is to completely go paperless. We do not want to use paper in the classroom. We want everything to be online. This is going to be my main hub. It's going to be, everything that I do is going to be on Google Classroom. 2, and the most popular reason why people use it, is a hybrid. So we're going to do some paper and pencil and some stuff on Google Classroom. That's most of the world using Google Classroom. The third reason is I'm only going to do special stuff on Google Classroom. So like I'm only going to do tests on Google Classroom. Everything else I'm going to do, offline pretty much. So 3 reasons to use Google Classroom. Number 1, how do I get to Google Classroom? So Google Classroom is a Google product. So that means you don't have to use Google Chrome to get there, but it does work better with Google Chrome. And because it's a Google product, that means you have to log in with a Google account. Now, it used to be a strictly education account, but now you can actually do Google Classroom on your personal Google account as well. But Google will give you a little warning when you first set up your Google Classroom for your personal account and say like, this should not be used with students. And it's mainly because if you're using Google with your personal account, there's not any filters, there's not any Google admin to kind of keep them a little bit safer. So that's why you'll get that little kind of warning, like this should not be used, if you're a teacher, this should not be used with students. So just kind of keep that in mind. So to get to Google Classroom, whether you're doing your personal account, I think Courtney got in, yay. Whether you're doing your personal account or whether you're doing your school account, which if you're using this with students, please use your school account. You have a couple of ways to get there. So one way is your waffle. So this is called the waffle, the Rubik's Cube, the 9 blocks. It really depends on where you go in the nation, what people call it. And I've had people go, I don't call it anything. I just click on it. I'm like, all right, cool. So click there and you should see Google Classroom. This is the icon for Google Classroom wherever you go. It may be black and white, it may be colored, but this is the symbol. So you would just click there. The second way is if you come here to your Omnibox, that's where you type in your URLs to websites, you can type in classroom.google.com. Anytime you want to get to a Google product, you can type in the product's name .google.com. So if I want to go to Google Drive, I can type in drive.google.com. I want to go to Gmail, I'm going to type in mail.google.com, calendar.google.com, keep.google.com. So wherever you want to go, especially if it's an education product or something used for productivity, you're going to type in the product name .google.com. So that's your second way you can get there. If you have the apps button right here, if you're on a Chromebook, your apps button is down here, kind of where your Windows button is on a regular laptop. But if you have the apps button, sometimes, not all the time, sometimes your Google Classroom button will be right here as well. Notice that I made it a bookmark to get to it quicker. So when I go to, for example, I don't know why I'm typing this in, but whatever, classroom.google.com, to make it a bookmark on my bookmark bar, I can just click the little star and I'll have a little icon for it right here. So you can do that too. Kind of whatever you want to do to get there. All right. So if you're working with me, you probably have 2 computers or 2 laptops or 2 Chromebooks. That's where we're going to be. Now remember, this is being recorded, so you can look at it later as well. So this is my Google Classroom. Each of these boxes represents a separate Google Classroom. It is recommended, it is best practice that you make 1 Google Classroom per hour, per period. So if you are teaching like first block, second block, third block, each one should have their own. Now, if you're a littles teacher or a lower elementary teacher and you want to use this, that's when it kind of gets up to you how you want to organize it. So I have some of my littles teachers will organize it by content. So they'll have the reading classroom, the math classroom, that kind of thing. Or some of them just make one Google Classroom and then they use what's called topics, which we'll get to a little bit later. They'll use topics to organize. So they'll have a reading topic and a math topic. And the students will just go to whatever topic you're on right now to do what they need to do. So, okay, that is the kind of rundown of Google Classroom. Now we're going to create our own Google Classroom. So to do that, I'm going to come here to the plus sign and I'm going to click it. If you are correctly put in your district's Google admin account for Google Classroom specifically, you should see join or create. If you ever click this and you only see, like you don't see anything, it just asks you to join a class, that just means you're not in their system just with Google Classroom correctly. Because Google admins will tell you there's a separate Google Classroom group that they have to add you to just for Google Classroom for you to be a teacher. So just understand that it's not a big deal. Just email them, call them, and let them know. And if they say, well, I don't know what's going on, tell them to email Desiree Alexander at educatoralexander@gmail.com or Desiree at educatoralexander.com or Desiree at appleeducators.org. Just tell them to get to me and I will help them out. So what we're going to do today is create a class. Now, you would join a class. A lot of your administrators at your schools are starting to use Google Classroom for professional development, for meetings and things like that. That's when you're going to hit join and you're going to type in the class code that they give to you. Or if they invite you, you'll see a box just pop up like this and you'll just hit accept. We'll talk about this a little bit later. We're going to create. So you see that my class has a required name. Usually this is where you're going to put your subject. Even though you see subject down here, this is going to be the main title of your Google Classroom. So if I teach, I used to teach English, I'm gonna put English right here. And then for section is where I put, let's say, third period, third hour, third block, whatever. If you are my littles teacher and you're only doing one Google Classroom, then your class name may be Miss Smith's second grade class. Section, you can leave blank. Notice this is the only one that's required. Subject and room, I actually don't put anything there. If you want to, go right ahead. But because Google has updated where the students no longer have an about button, this doesn't really show up anywhere right now. So you really can leave it blank. I'm going to hit create. It does take maybe a minute or so for your Google Classroom to create. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer than others. Not long enough for you to go make a cup of coffee or anything, but sometimes it takes a couple of minutes. So if it does, don't worry about it, just let it go through. So this is my Google Classroom. Notice English third period. What Google does, it takes whatever word you put on that first line and it tries to find a picture to go with that. So this is my English picture, right? I have my Harry Potter glasses and apparently I'm writing from the 1800s and all that good stuff. So I can come here and select the theme to change that picture to anything else, right? Now this is very cosmetic, but what it does do is if I change this, it also changes this. So it changes the color scheme. So if I'm like, oh, I just hate blue, which I don't, I can go change it to something else so it can change that color scheme as well. You also have upload your own photo. So if you upload your own photo, I'm going to select a photo from my computer. One of the weirdest things is that it doesn't let you select a photo from Google Drive. Just the weirdest stuff. So I'm going to choose the minion just to show you how it looks when you choose your own photo. And then you only have this box. So make this box as big as possible, and then this is what you have. So I can't get the whole picture. I can only get, their little faces or their bodies or whatever I want. So I'm going to hit that. So one of the things that teachers got upset about when Google Classroom updated is you see how it's very dark, is a very dark overlay over it. So just keep that in mind if you do put your own picture, that it will be a little bit dark. And you can use GIFs or GIFs as well. Okay, so I think this is a little distracting, especially for students, but you know, up to you. So there you go. Notice how this changed to orange now to kind of match that picture. I'm gonna go back to, let's do technology. Let's do that. All right. So there you go. That's how you change the picture. You have stream, classwork, people, and grades. So we're gonna go through all 4 of these tabs, and then we'll talk about a couple of the other settings as well. We're gonna start on the people tab. How do I get my students into Google Classroom? Okay. So 2 ways to get your students in. The first way is using the class code. So you're going to give them this class code. You can email it to them. You can send it through Remind, or however you get information to your students. You can send them this class code and they will join your Google Classroom. The second way is to invite them. So I can click here. I can type in all of my students' names. Some districts, for some reason, you have to type in the whole email address. But you're going to type in the name or the email address and hit invite. So you can kind of guess which one is usually done by upper elementary on up and which one is done by littles, right? Class code, if you have 180 students, you probably don't want to invite them all. So your upper elementary on up usually uses the class code. Your littles teachers use invite students. But you can use whatever you want to. You have both options. So if you use invite students, when your student comes to Google Classroom, they'll see a box and all they have to do is hit accept. Now they can hit decline. They can say, well, no, thank you, teacher. Thank you so much for inviting me to do work, but I would rather not, right? So they can decline. If they decline, they just won't show up on your list. So if you're like, why isn't Michael in my Google Classroom? Why isn't he showing up on my list right here? Then you just have to invite them again and just make sure they get in. Not a big deal, just, you know, it's going to happen, so just do it. So that's that one. The class code is, you'll have to get this to them. Now, usually when we're in person, you know, I say display it on your screen, blah, 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 but you'll have to get this class code to them in some way. Now, this class code is really, really small. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to the gear, and we're going to go through all this other stuff later and look for, and all I did was scroll down under general class code. So this is my class code. If I click it and hit display, so when we do get back to schools, I can display this. I can even make it a little bit bigger using this little box, and now my students can see it better. I have never seen a Google Classroom class code with a capital letter yet. Okay, now they get a little long, and usually they have numbers and letters in them, but I haven't seen one with a capital letter. So I'll stop right there. I'm going to give you a couple of more hints for the class code, but I'm going to check the chat and see if we have any questions. Can you upload a spreadsheet of student emails? I have never done that. I think in the Google admin you can. I don't know if an individual teacher, I've not seen a place for an individual teacher to do it, but I think you can do it. I think the Google admin can do that, if I'm not mistaken. Where do they write the code? Okay, I'm about to show you that in a second. If someone can't get audio, I don't know what to do about that. Make sure computer is not muted, or go out and come back into meeting. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so a couple of other things with class code is students have been known to take your class code and put it on social media. Why? I don't know, but it's like a global thing. So they'll take your class code, put it on social media, and then you'll have random people joining your Google Classroom. So there's a couple of ways to keep your class code safe. So one thing, you know, copy just means to copy it so you can go paste it somewhere else. You're probably never going to use that unless, well, now you may use it because you're putting it in emails and stuff like that. But This is how you can quickly copy your class code. But one of the things you can do to defeat that is to reset. So if you see random people coming into your Google Classroom, you can come here and reset your class code. The old class code is dead. If somebody tries to use it, nothing's going to happen. It's going to say that it's invalid, and this is your new class code. Now, what happens at that time is nothing happens to your students who are already in the class, so you don't have to worry about that. I am going to show you how to remove people. So if you do get random people, I'm going to show you how to remove them. The better solution, in my opinion, is to click here and disable. What that means is you're closing your classroom door. So if I'm using Google Classroom and I have 30 students in my regular classroom and I have 30 students in my Google Classroom, I'm going to go close that door. There's no reason for me to leave that door open. So come here and disable it, and now I know my Google Classroom is locked down. We're done, right? And then if I get a brand new student, I can come here and enable it again, and now I have a brand new class code. It does nothing to my students who are already in that class. So that's everything you could possibly want to know about class codes. So how does my student join? How does all this look? I'm going to hit the X to get out of settings because we're not there yet. That's the only setting we want to look at. This is a student account. So on this student account, it looks just like yours. These are the classrooms that the students are enrolled in. So when the student comes back here, they can just click on the class. They only have to join your Google Classroom one time. And then it just sits here and waits for them. So for the student to join, they're going to come hit the plus sign unless you invited them, where they'll just hit accept. They're going to come hit the plus sign, and notice all they can do is join class. They can't create one. So they would type in that class code right here and hit join. If it's invalid, it'll tell them right here, this class code is invalid, and then they'll email you and say something is wrong. But it should just let them in. So notice on my student account, I have stream, classwork, and people. They do not have a grades tab. Back on my teacher account, here's my student. And my student is, the name of my student is student 1. So if the name was Mary Smith, it'll show Mary Smith right here. So that's how your students show up on the list. And that's what I meant by, if you look down this list and Johnny isn't in there, then you need to go see Johnny may have declined your invitation or something like that. So that's how your students join. For teachers, the only time you're going to use this button is to invite a teacher as a co-teacher. That means you want this teacher to co-teach with you. You want this teacher to have all of the same rights you do in this classroom. So just keep that in mind. If you invite a teacher, again, they're going to see this little box and they're going to have to come and hit accept. You can't force a teacher to co-teach with you. But that is how you would invite them. So I always, usually when I'm doing this in person, I'll say, if you're a teacher leader and you want to do a book study with your teachers, would you invite your teachers as teachers or as students? Go ahead and type in the chat box, what do you think? If you're a teacher leader and you want to invite your teachers as, you want to do a book study, would you invite them as teachers or students? Okay, I'm seeing a lot of, and I'm going back up to make sure they go to their classroom and click join. Oh, she was answering her question. Okay. Would you invite educational assistants as teachers or students? Okay, well, if you want them to do everything you can do, you invite them as teachers. If not, as students. I would invite them as a teacher if they're my, you know, if they're the educational assistant. Is there a limit of adding teachers to the classroom? I have not run into a limit. So everybody is right, students. You would invite them as a student, and because you don't want them to run the book club, so invite them as a student. The only time you're going to invite them as a teacher is if you want them to run it with you, okay? And the reason why I say that so much is because I've had people kind of get like indignant and get hurt. They're like, well, she added me. I told my teachers, like some of my administrators, I told my teacher to add me to their Google Classroom, and they added me as a student. And I'm like, yeah, I am. And they're like, I'm not a student. I'm like, okay, well, get over yourself, right? So it's one of those things where, and, unless they want to get all these emails and stuff like that, then they should be invited as a student. Inky, thank you. Inky says that there's a maximum of 20 teachers in Google Classroom. Mary, exactly. I mean, really. The ego. If we can just get the ego out of education, that's my motto. Get the ego out of education, we'll be all good. Thank you, Inky. So it's a maximum of 20 teachers in Google Classroom. So that's inviting them as a teacher. Okay, moving on. That's okay. Johnny puts FU, comma, and your name on Google Classroom. He's so sweet, right? But he did put a comma. He did put a comma where it was supposed to go. So you take your wins, like, yay, Johnny. So what am I going to do with Johnny? First thing that you need to do is get your proof. So take a picture of it, take a screenshot. If all that's like, I don't know how to do all that, and then pull out your phone and just take a regular old picture of it. But get your proof of what he did. And then what you can do is you can actually mute Johnny. So once I have a student here, if I come here and click on the student, now this is clicked because this is my only student. If I want to click all my students, I can just click the one up here. But I'm just going to come click on the student and notice the action button becomes alive. So if I mute my student, that means that they can still do their work. They can still talk to me, but other students will not see anything that they do. I like to call them a ghost in Google Classroom. So if I mute my student, one of the things I like besides muting them is this little symbol. So if you have a co-teacher, you know how sometimes they try to play mama and daddy between the co-teachers. So if you have a co-teacher and, Johnny says, well, I can't type no more. I don't know what happened. You're like, oh, baby, let me go check. And you come here to people and you see this, that tells you that your co-teacher muted him for a reason. So that's where you go, no, you need to go talk to her. I'm not unmuting you. Now, if the student earns their rights back, you can come here and unmute them. And now they're unmuted. This is also where you can remove people. So if they have left your Google Classroom, you do want to remove them. If they're not supposed to be there, of course, you want to remove them. And if your students have email turned on for them, just because they have a Google account does not mean they have Gmail associated with that account. So if they have Gmail turned on, you can come here and do a bulk email to all your students. And that's what the little hot dogs does. You can email that one student as well. I'm going to look in the chat and see if we have any questions before we go on to parents and guardians. 1,000 limit for teacher plus students in Google Classroom. So you can only have 1,000 people per Google Classroom. Thank you, Inky. Does it tell you which person muted the student? No, it does not. It just tells you that they're muted. Good question. Well, hopefully you don't have that many people running around your classroom. Hopefully you don't have that many teachers. Can other students see if someone's muted? No, they just won't see them. They just, they won't, if they're typing stuff, they just won't see it at all. Will the mute option make it private for students where they cannot see other? No, the student will still be able to see other people. Other people just won't be able to see them. Is it per classroom or your account? It's actually per classroom. So if you have Johnny in 3 classes, you'll have to go to each class and mute him. Good thing I only have 999, right? Please, may I get the link to sign? Okay, I'll do that. Okay, so any of that kind of stuff, guys, like signing in, I don't want to stop class, so we will get that all at the end. All right, so unless somebody can post it, I just don't want to stop class for it. Is it 1,000 per classroom or per your, I'm thinking it's per classroom. I don't think that could be per your account, but I'm not 100% sure. Right, Mary, I completely agree. So Kimberly, I'm not 100% sure if that's per classroom or per account, but I would think it was per classroom, but maybe not. That is a lot of people. Okay, it is per classroom because I'm like, people use this professionally, so it could be. Okay, so per classroom. Thank you, Inky. Okay, moving on. Parents. So one of the things that teachers have been asking for with Google Classroom is we want parents to be involved. Google has kind of not wanted to, like, it's not a learning management system where parents will have their own logins and things like that, and I don't want them to go to all that kind of stuff either. So what they did give us was the invite guardian. Okay, so to invite your guardian to get an email, this parent can sign up for either a daily or a weekly email that will go to them. I'm going to show you an example of one in a second. A daily or a weekly email that will go to them and just give them a little synopsis of what's happening in their students' Google Classrooms. So to invite them, you're going to come here and click Invite Guardian, and you're going to type in the email address of every guardian per student. And usually at this time, I have my like middle and high school teachers looking at me like, who's about to do that? That's okay. Give me a second. I'm going to give you a tip for doing this. Okay, so that's how you invite them. There's no getting around that, but I'm gonna give you a tip for doing this as a school that will help everybody. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go to the gear. We already did one thing in the gear, so we're gonna wrap up this gear and talk about our parents more. So under the gear, I'm gonna finish talking about parents, and then we're gonna scroll up and look at the rest of the settings in the gear. So the thing is talking about parents. When I scroll down to general, I see guardian summaries. Now you may not see example. If you don't, that's okay. I'm about to show it to you now. This is an example of what your parents can sign up for, a weekly or a daily summary. So this is a weekly summary for Felix, August 1st through the 5th. It tells them the work that the student is missing in U.S. history and English and when it was due. What's due next week in history and marine biology. And then it gives a snapshot of what's happening per class. As a teacher, you cannot tell them what to put in the snapshot. Okay, they just take like three, like this is an assignment, a question, assignment, question, announcement. So they just take three things and they put a snapshot of what's happening per class. So that's what happens. Now, when you put that email address in, the parent gets an email that says, hey, Ms. Smith has invited you to sign up for daily or weekly summaries. Do you want a weekly summary or do you want a daily summary or do you not want any at all? Then it's up to the parent to do the rest. Okay? So this is the tip right here. So with this button, this is saying, please include my Google Classroom in that email. So what that means is, let's say I have a 4H Google Classroom, and I'm like, parents don't need to know, anything about that Google Classroom. I can turn this off, and then if Felix is in here, this class will not be included in that summary. But if I click this, that means please include it. So what that means for your school is if the whole 6th grade team teaches the same student, only one of them has to put in the parent email. The rest of them just have to come and click this because the email address is connected to the student's account. So if Ms. Smith puts in Felix's mom's name, then Miss Alexander just has to click this because the parent name is already going to be next to Felix. So what most schools will do is they'll get their first period or their homeroom to do a Google Classroom for homeroom, if you do a homeroom, or you already have a Google Classroom for your first period. So everybody put in their first period's parent email addresses, and now the whole school is in. And we don't have to worry about that. A lot of districts even grade this out and they force this turned on for all of teachers. All right, I'm gonna stop here and look in the chat and see if we have any questions before we go through the rest of the settings. Can you have more than one guardian for a student? Yes, you can. Only see their own child, correct? Yes, they only see their own child. Can everyone else hear? I lost connection. I think everybody is hearing. Yeah, okay, they said they can hear. Okay. How do you type in the weekly summaries? You don't. You do not control anything in that weekly summary. All you can do is say include my class, period. So that's it. If you want to email all of your parents, that's when you come here to actions. And if I had a guardian email, it would say something like email, right here, email all guardians. So if you want to email them something, once they're all put in, you can click email all guardians and it'll be a massive email to everybody. But that's all you can do. You do not control anything with that weekly summary. And then how do they see the weekly? It gets emailed to them. So so the summary is all, yes. No, the summary is only sent if you, right here with their name, if you put 5 emails in, like, put as many emails as you want to and click invite, each of them will get an email that says, do you want to sign up for weekly or daily summaries? They say yes or no, and then they start getting the emails. That's it. All right, I think I got all the questions. Moving on. All right. So hopefully this is going slow enough for you guys. If not, y'all just let me know. Anything I need to repeat, just let me know. And again, you're going to get this video. Class details. Honestly, this does not show up anywhere right now for students. On the student account, they used to have a little about button. That has been taken away. I'm guessing it's going to come back one day. I'm not sure. But this does not show up anywhere. So you might as well just leave this alone. But if it ever does start coming up again, I used to warn my teachers for things like class description. And all of my examples come from real life, guys. Don't try to be funny and put slow class for class description and class with Johnny, exclamation, exclamation, because your students used to be able to see this. Now it doesn't go anywhere, just leave it blank. So under general, we've already talked about class code. We've already talked about guardian summaries. Stream. So for stream, this is one of the most important things that I can point out to newbies with Google Classroom. So I have a lot of my teachers that'll say, well, I just want to mute everybody. I don't want them talking. I'll just go and hit the big top button and mute everybody. You don't have to do that because of this. You have 3 options right here of how you want your Google Classroom to run. The default, which means when you first create a Google Classroom, this is what's turned on. Students can post and comment. That means they can pretty much do everything you can do except assign stuff. They can post videos, they can post pictures, they can comment and talk to each other. Okay, so that they can pretty much do everything you can do except, of course, assign stuff and grade stuff and that kind of stuff. Now you have the second one, students can only comment. That means the students cannot post stuff, but they can talk to each other. So I like to say the student cannot, how do I want to put that? Sorry, excuse me. The student cannot post the video, but they can post a link to the video. Or you have only teachers can comment and post, which means the students can still do all of their work. They can still comment to you, but they can't post anything and they can't comment to each other. Now, this is per Google Classroom. So every time you create a Google Classroom, you need to go change this if you want it changed. Now, excuse me, you can also turn this on and off as you want to. This is not a setting that you have to keep turned on or keep turned off. If I want to do an assignment where I want my students to comment to each other today, I can turn it on and hit save. If tomorrow I only want them to do their work, I can come here, change it, and hit save. So you can do this per assignment. You can do this per minute. Whatever you want to do is here. And you just hit save. Okay, I don't see any questions. Classwork on the stream. So what this is, guys, I'm not going to try to sit here and explain this to you. For my people, I call them my button people. I don't think I have any button people in here. I may. My button people are people who've been using Google Classroom since you had a big button down here to add everything. So I call you my button people. So if you're one of my button people, you'll understand this. But for my newbies, it's really not going to make that much sense. So what I usually tell people for classwork on the stream is to come here and change this to hide notifications. And I just say, please just trust me. So when you click hide notifications, what it does, just in a very simplistic, without going through the history of Google Classroom, is that your stream is supposed to be only for announcements. So make sure you bring your book tomorrow. Bring that book fair money. Don't forget this. Don't forget your test tomorrow. That's what stream is supposed to be for. But when Google Classroom updated, I'm not going through the history, I promise, but when Google Classroom updated, they made it to where everything you put on the classwork tab also showed up in the stream. So what that meant was you had all these assignments on here that they should be going to classwork for. And there are some reasons that you really want to send them to classwork versus stream. And then your announcement would just get pushed, look, all the way down here, field trip tomorrow. Who's going to scroll through all this to see that announcement, right? So to fix that, that is your permanent fix to fix that. So that was the short version. Okay. Classwork on the stream, hide notifications. Show deleted items. This is your investigation button. This is your magic button. So Maria comes up to you and says, Johnny called me ugly on Google Classroom. You go look at Google Classroom and you see nothing. Johnny did not call her ugly. You don't see that anywhere. Well, you know Johnny. Johnny did call her ugly. And what did Johnny do? He deleted it. He knew why Maria was coming up to your desk, so he quickly deleted it. Well, I can come here and click this and say, show deleted items. So what it's going to do is it's going to show me everything that anybody tried to delete in Google Classroom. It's going to show up and it's going to be grayed out. So the cool thing about Google Classroom is there is no delete in Google Classroom because you can click this and see anything. Most of the time, you're going to find stuff like, hi, this is so stupid. I know. Don't forget to delete. I will. Like you'll find little conversations between them. And then you tell them, you know, not to do that. And then everything's fine. But I do tell you not to keep this turned on. Because if you keep this turned on, it's also going to show you the things that you tried to delete. So it can get very confusing very quickly, okay? So you try to delete an assignment and it just shows, you know, just stays there and looks at you. So it can get very confusing very quickly. So I try to tell people not to keep it turned on. Just turn it on when you need to investigate. And then last but not least, you have your grading. So you have your overall grade if you want your students to see the overall grade. You have show overall grade. Well, I have to say show grade first, and then I can turn that on. So you want to see total points. You want to see it weighted by category or no overall grade. And then if you want to do categories, you can come here and say homework is worth this much, and this is worth this much, and all that kind of stuff. So you can do all that good stuff. Now, if I click here and say weighted by category, that's going to change this to percentage. So if you're looking at that going, Desiree, that does not say what you're talking about. That's because you have to say you want it weighted by category. So there you go. So there you go. So if you want to use this, you absolutely can. Any questions about settings before we move on? I don't have the option to add guardians. Any options that you do not see, you need to get with your Google admin because they may have turned it off. Okay, so I'm going to click the X to get out of here. Sure, whatever. All right, and now I'm going to go to the hamburger. The 3 little lines. So when I go to my hamburger and go to classes, this is how I get back to my main office or my dashboard, whatever you want to call this, where all of my classes live. I also get my plus sign back so I can add extra classes. So a couple of things you can do here, especially when it comes to cleaning up your Google Classroom at the end of the year. So first and foremost, you can take these boxes and move them around and put them in the order that you want to put them in. I feel like we fought in the streets to get this. I'm going to do this for about 30 more seconds because you're going to show this some respect and you're going to be happy about this. We fought. All right, you used to have to do like Venn diagrams to like which one do I need to add first and which one is second. So yeah, you respect moving these around. You respect it. All right. So for each one of these, you also have little hot dogs. Now, sometimes the picture makes it hard to see them, but I promise you on each one, you have hot dogs. So these are the different things you can do with this. You have move, which you're never going to use because I just showed you how to move it. You have edit, which if you spell something wrong, like I spelled English wrong one time and folks thought it was real funny. You can come here and change it and update what you need to update. And then you have copy and archive. So I'm going to go through archive first. Archive means I don't want this classroom anymore. Okay? When you archive it, it takes it off of your dashboard. But more importantly, it takes your students' access away from that Google Classroom. So I have teachers who will go in and delete all the students at the end of the year. You really don't need to do that if you're never going to restore that class. So if you archive it immediately, it takes their access away. But just a little tip, before you archive it, go ahead and edit it and put the school year on it. So English 2019 through 2020, right? Or I don't know, are we even saying through 2020 this year? Just it's 2019, half a year. So you go ahead and put that there and then you archive it. The first time you archive a class, you're going to see under your hamburger a button called Archive Classes. You're not going to see this button until you archive a class. Once you've archived a class, they come and they live here. So you see like the lines across it is telling you that this is archived. I can come here to restore it if I would like to. I can also come here to delete it. Now, you should not delete a Google Classroom that has content in it. What'd you say? I said you should not delete a Google Classroom that has content in it. Now, if you're doing a Google Classroom for training, you can delete that all day long. But if you have assignments and content in it, you do not delete that Google Classroom, okay? The only exception to that is if I teach 5 of the exact same class, then only save 1 of them. You can delete the other 4. So if I teach 5 English 1s and they all got the exact same assignments, I can delete 4 of them and keep 1 of my English 1 classes. It is so important. I'm going to show you why in a second. It also, you can tell that Google is trying to save you because they don't let you delete from here. You have to archive it first, then come to archive to delete. So if you delete it, you want it to delete it. Okay? And you see delete 2018, 2019. That's going to be important in a second when I show you why. Let's see if we have any questions before we move on to notifications. Okay, will hide notifications. The students will still see what you post, right? Oh, with hide notifications, the students will still see what, yes. Yeah, it will still be in Google Classroom. Oh, stacks of pancakes. What are we talking about? Can you show me how to delete classroom per? I just did. 2020 didn't happen. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So yeah, I just showed you how to, when you do this and you hit delete, you are deleting it permanently. Okay. So back to our hamburger, we see we have all of our classes. We have the ones that we're teaching and the ones we're enrolled in as students. We have to-do lists. I like to say the to-do list is the same as that big stack of papers that's sitting on your desk. the stack of desks that if it falls on a small child, they'll get hurt. That's what this is. So it tells you what needs to be graded, what you need to look at, all that kind of stuff. So this is my big stack of papers. And then we already talked about archive, and then we have settings. Go ahead and click on settings whenever, if you're following me, awesome. If not, you'll do this later. But guys, this is where you come to turn on and off notifications. Your students can also do this. So in notifications, one of the complaints I get with Google Classroom from people when they're first using it is, why am I getting so many emails? This is why. So you can come here and just turn all emails off. I don't suggest that, but you can. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, you can actually turn it off by class. So if I say, you know what, this is, I keep picking on 4-H. I used to be in 4-H, but I can say, you know, I don't need notifications about my 4-H class, but I do need it about my comparative literature class. Or you can turn it off by topic, by content. So when do you want to get an email? When don't you? If this is a color, that means it's turned on. If it's black and white, that means it's turned off. And I say a color because remember, your color scheme is chosen by your picture. So yours may not be blue, it may be brown, it may be purple, whatever. So settings, they can't just call it notifications really, but this top part, I ignore it because this is for your entire Google account. So whatever you change here is going to change for your entire Google account. So I don't play with that. Okay. Going back to classes. Notice you do have a calendar here. This is your Google Classroom calendar. You get things on the calendar by assigning them and giving them a due date. We'll talk about that in a second. Okay, so I'm going to go back in my class and I'm going to go with stream. So now, even though everything that I told you was important, now we're getting more into the nitty-gritty of assigning stuff and sending stuff to students. Do I have any questions before we go through stream? Okay. I'm not seeing any in the chat, and of course I'll answer it even if it's after the fact. Okay, so stream. I have a lot of my teachers putting assignments in stream. No. Okay, the only thing that needs to go in stream are announcements. Hey guys, remember to bring your book tomorrow. Hey guys, remember to test. Hey guys, remember to eat, remember to relax, blah, 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 blah. So those kind of things. I did just post the link to sign in again in the chat. Okay, so when I'm here, notice it says share something with your class. Oh, before I go through that, remember I said class code, I was going to show you this. So the class code is also here for quick access. So I can click display from here and just very quick access instead of going to the gear. Now I can't do any of the settings here. So I can't like redo it or disable it. You have to go to the gear for that. But just, okay. Share something with your class. I'm going to click that and I'm going to show you this box. The cool thing about Google Classroom is once you know one box, you pretty much know them all. I really like that they make it standard, so it's a little easier to use. So number one, up here where it says your class, sometimes this will be grayed out. If it's grayed out, that means you only have one Google Classroom. Once you have more than one Google Classroom, you can click here and you can send this to multiple classes at the same time. What? I know. You do not have to go and post the same thing per classroom. Now, that's if, of course, you want them all to have the same thing. So you can just click here and say, well, I want it to go to these 3 classes, and then you'll post in those 3 classes. The second button you have right here is your differentiation button. So it says all students, but if I click here, I can actually choose, now I only have 1 student, but I can actually choose which students to send this to. You're going to use this button for 3 reasons. 1, to send information to individual students. So let's say I gave Johnny and Michael extra time on their assignment. I don't want everybody to know that, but I do need to give them, you know, like, you better turn this in tomorrow kind of message, right? So I can come here and click on Johnny and Michael and just send them that message. So anything like that. Please tell Michael to catch the bus. Okay, I can send it to him. So you can just choose individual students. So that's the first way to use it. The second way to use it is for group work. So when I want to do group work, now am I going to do group work in the stream? No, you're right. No, I'm not going to do group work in the stream. I'm going to do group work under classwork. That's what we're going to get to in a second. But look, all the boxes look the same. Well, they updated, so it's kind of over here now, but they all look the same. So it's still going to be the same thing. So if I wanted to do group work, I'm going to come here and choose which students I want in group 1 and assign it. Then I'm going to do another assignment and choose the students in group 2 and assign it. Do another assignment and choose the students in group 3 and assign it. So that's how you would do group work. The last thing you're going to use this for is differentiation. So if I have 20 students who have, I hate to use the word regular, I hate those kind of words, but I have 20 students who have regular time, and then I have 10 students who have extended time, right, on their test. Or even better, I have 20 students that will take the full test and 10 students who will take the test minus 10 test questions, so they have that accommodation. So what I'll do is I'll come here, I'll choose 20 students, send them the full test, do another assignment, come here, choose my 10 students, and send them their less test question assignment. So that way, everybody has one assignment, right? And they can do the one they're supposed to do. So you don't have to sit there like we used to do and say, you know, Michael, you do the second test. Do the second test. And everybody's like, Michael, do the second test. And you don't have to do that anymore, right? So you can do it this way and do it correctly. So that's these two buttons at the top. Share something with your class. I'm going to say, hello, I hope you are all doing well. I will post more items tomorrow. I just want to tell them something, right? I'm going to get to this button on the next screen, but I do want you to see that this is here as well, but I will talk about it on the next screen. And then I can either post. When you post, that is an immediate post. Like, it's going to go right now, and my student is going to see it right now. But you also have two other options. You have schedule and save draft. Schedule means I want this to go out tomorrow at 8 o'clock, but I'm still going to be in my bed tomorrow at 8 o'clock. So then, are dealing with the 5,000 other things I have to do at 8 o'clock. So you can come here and schedule it and tell it when do you want it to go out, and then it's going to post for your students at that time. You can also come here and save a draft. So if I'm putting together an amazing assignment, but I just don't have time to finish it right now, I can save it as a draft. Anytime you schedule it or save it as a draft, it saves up here. It's always up here at the top. So I can click this, click back on what I was doing, and now it's back up, and I can finish it and post it. I'm going to post it. Now my student has an announcement. If I go to the student account and give it a second. Oh, stream was updated. Show. Ah, yay. Thank you, teacher. And give it a second. Or not. Refresh. I also just got an email that said, student 1 commented, and that's why I would go turn off those notifications. All right, so thank you, teacher. And I go, you're welcome, sweetie. All right, moving on to classwork, and I'm going to come check the chat and see if we have any questions. Can you show us how to submit an assignment? Yep, that's what we're going to right now, sweetie. I believe she's going to, yeah. Can you post a video under comment? Under comment, I think I gave them the ability to post in comment, but I think you can post the link to the video, but not the video itself. Guess I'm like looking, like I don't see any place to put the video. Good question. All right, any other questions? You've uploaded videos as a comment, Rachel? Okay, so Rachel's gonna have that conversation. Okay, so now we're under classwork. This is where literally everything else gets done. Okay, so that's why I make sure that we go through the other stuff and then we get here and we just talk about this and go through all the nitty-gritty as much as we need to. You also have your Google Calendar button, again, and your class drive folder. So I will go through this in a second. Create. Assignment, you're not going to see Kami assignment unless you have the Kami extension. So I'm not going through that in the basics class. When you have assignment, quiz assignment, question, material, reuse post, and topic. Assignment. So this is your assignment screen. I'm not going through this because we already talked about these buttons. You have your points. They're always going to show 100 for your default. And then I can come here and click ungraded if I don't want it to have a grade. Or I can just type in whatever I want my grade to be. For due date, you would come hit no due date again, and then choose when you want your due date to be. If you wanted to turn in by a certain time, you can put the time right here. Now, I will tell you that once this due date hits, the students can still turn in the assignment. It just will mark it late. So there is, right now, there is no turning off an assignment. Okay, so just keep that in mind. The students can turn it in 3 years later if they want to. It'll just mark it late, and it will tell you when they turned it in. We'll go through topic in a second after we go through the different things that you can post. Rubric and originality reports will also go through in a second. So you come here and you put your title for your assignment. Please do not call it worksheet, but I'm just doing that for an example. You come and put your directions, and then you have your add and your create button. And create is new because they did update this whole screen. So before I get to add, I see some comments in the chat. So let me see what we are doing. I can only do links to videos. Yeah, in the comments, yes. Uploaded a morning video using Screenshot. Awesome, awesome. Okay. How do you get to the grade section? Okay, we haven't gotten there yet, Jacqueline. All right, next. So we're going to come here to add. And these are the things that you can add from. So you can add from your Google Drive. So if I click that and I have something in my Google Drive, it always starts on recent. So you can go to My Drive to actually see everything in your drive. So I'm going to add, let's say this. Done. You can add a link to anywhere on the internet. You can add a file from your computer. So this is where you would come to add from your computer. Notice this is the same screen, My Drive and all that. I clicked on, really just clicking on upload. And then I can upload something from my computer. Let's say the Telltale Heart. Awesome. And then the last button is how you can get a YouTube video. Now you can get your YouTube video in 2 different ways. If you already know the URL of your video that you love, you can just come and paste it right here, or you can do a search. So if I wanted to search for videos, I can come here. If I want to use the video, I'm simply going to double click it, and now the video is here. Once the video processes, you should be able to click on the video and play it like this. Because of course we are never going to assign a video without watching it, right? So I can come and watching every single second of it. So that's how you add the different things to your assignment. If you don't want them anymore, you simply click the X. Any questions before I go through the top 3 mistakes that teachers make with Google Classroom? Okay, I'm not seeing anything in the chat. The top 3 mistakes that people make in Google Classroom. So first mistake is, I want my students to manipulate this. I want them to be able to type on it. I want them to be able to drag and drop. I want them to be able to interact with it, to manipulate it. If you want that, it has to be a Google product. It has to be a Google Doc, Google Slide, Google Sheets. If you send them a Word document, all they can do is see it. If you send them a PDF, all they can do is see it. If you send them a picture, all they can do is see it. Now, when I say that, I'm talking about regular old Google Classroom. I'm not talking about using an extension. Okay, that's a whole different conversation. So I'm not talking about using Cami and all these other extensions that you can annotate. Regular old Google Classroom, it has to be a Google product. Now, what that means for you is, when you come to your Google Drive and you throw that Word document in here, there is a way for you to turn that Word document into a Google Doc. So that's more of a Google Docs class. But if I'm going to pin this, because if you want me to show you that, I can show it to you after we're done with the Google Classroom class. So it has to be a Google Docs. That's the first common mistake. The second common mistake is, I put this Google Doc here, so Desiree said that's what I need to do for them to write on it. However, Google Classroom said students can only view file. So this means even though it's a Google Doc, all they're going to be able to do is look at it. So I have to come here and I have 2 other options. Students can view file, which it sounds exactly what it means, like they can only see it. Students can edit file. So most of my teachers will click that and go, yep, that's exactly what I want. No, it's not. No, it's not. Students can edit file is your group work tool. Okay, this is your group work tool. So this is your thing that you will use to assign it for the whole group to edit. So if you click that, that means everybody that you have sent it to over here will be able to edit that exact same file. The one that you probably want, and the one that most of us use, and the reason why Google Classroom was created, is for this button right here. Make a copy for each student. That is your copy machine. Okay? That is what you click for each student to get their own copy with their own name on it. Let that sink in. Now I have a question for you. It's a yes or no question. This is a Word document. If I come here and say students can edit file or make a copy for each student, will they be able to edit it? Yes or no in the chat. Will they be able to edit it? Ooh, y'all are on fire. Yes, they will not be able to edit it. I don't care what it says right here. It is a Word, PDF, picture. They will not be able to edit it. Very good, guys. Thank y'all. All right. The third common mistake, honestly, guys, if you're a newbie, like new to all of Google, you probably just want to turn off your ears right now. Okay, but I do want to say the third common mistake, it does confuse people because they don't know Google Drive. And that's what I tell people is, if you're using Google Classroom, guys, you have to know Google Drive. Okay, Google Classroom is the pretty girl at the front of the store. All the work still happens in Google Drive. You have to know Google Drive, and then you want to start learning your Google products. Okay, and I can also show you on my YouTube channel where you can go to get a Google Drive Basics class. So I can show you that too. Just remind me, because I'm not going to remember why I have all these tabs pinned, but just remind me. Okay, so the third one is about group work. So if I come to Google Drive and I start a slideshow and I want my students per group to work on this slideshow, right? And I'm going to call this history presentation first block, just for an example. So I do this, and then I come to my Google Classroom, and I open up an assignment. I choose my 3 students that's in group 1, and I add that slideshow. And I choose students can edit file. I open up another assignment for group 2. I choose the other 3 students that are in group 2. I add that file, and I choose students can edit file. I do the exact same thing for group 3. I open up a brand new assignment. I choose everybody else that wasn't in a group yet. I add that file, and I choose students can edit file. I just made one of my top 3 mistakes. What I did was I used this same file for all 3 groups. I can't do that because now they're all working on the exact same file. So what I would need to do in my Google Drive is make one for first block, group 1. Make a copy for first block, group 2. Make a copy for first block, group 3, and so on and so forth to actually do this correct. So that's my third common mistake. Now if you're sitting there like, what? That's okay. That's not for you. You're not going to be doing group work right now. You're just first getting started. But if you know Google Drive, that made complete sense, hopefully. So there you go. I'm going to take questions. Can you attach a worksheet and each student can fill it out? Okay, so Angela, you would attach the worksheet like I just showed you. If you want each student to fill it out, I'm guessing you're talking about individually. That's going to be this, make a copy for each student, and that's going to be the individual student filling out their own worksheet. The only time the worksheet has to be converted is if it's not already a Google Doc. But we can talk about that a little bit more if you want to know a little bit more about converting and what you can convert and what you cannot convert in a second. And guys, if you do want to stay after, I can also show you OCR. And what OCR is you can take a picture of something and have Google type all of the words from the picture for you. So I can show you that at the end too. So that's stuff that we'll do like after the 2 o'clock. I think she means fill out a PDF or Word. Okay, well I just said that. So PDF, no, like that's same stuff. So no, it has to be a Google product unless you use an extension. It's not going to change, guys. All right. Last 2 things on here is rubric and originality report. We'll get to topics a little bit later. So for rubric, you can create a rubric to help you grade. So if you click on rubric, you can reuse. I've never even touched import from sheets. Excuse me, but you can reuse a rubric or create a rubric. So to create a rubric, you can say, I don't want to do point values, or yes, I do want to do point values. So I'm going to say I'm grading this on spelling. And I can say like, make sure your spelling is correct. Blah, 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 blah. And then I can say this was bad spelling, and then bad spelling, whatever. And then I can click this and say, well, this is 2 points. This is medium spelling, whatever. And then this is 3 points, and this is awesome spelling, whatever, right? Oh, goodness, what just happened? Oh, I clicked something to change the order. I don't know what I just clicked on, but okay. So there you go. Notice it has little hot dogs by each one. You can delete if you don't want this one anymore. Now, to create another criterion, so I did spelling, but I want to do punctuation, for example. I can hit add criterion, and it gives me a whole new one. So I can say punctuation, blah, 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 okay? Now, the cool thing about this is when they did this in beta, there's a button here that said, copy this criterion. So then I wouldn't have to do all this again, right? I can just put like bad punctuation, medium punctuation, or something like that. Or just don't put spelling on it, right? Now, bad, medium, high, and I don't have to do these again. But the button went away, and I was very sad. However, the other day when I was teaching this, it's under the hot dogs now. So once I do one of these, I can come to the hot dogs and click duplicate criterion. And now it duplicates everything. So now I can just change this to punctuation. If I put punctuation somewhere in here, change it there. And now I can have all the same criteria. When I'm done with this, and always click on the hot dogs to see what you got here. When I'm done with this, I can hit save. Uh-oh, I didn't type something where it used to be. Yeah. You can hit save, and the cool thing is that they put the rubric with the assignment so the students can actually see it. And then when you go to grade it, you'll see the rubric and you can use it, and everybody's happy in the land. Originality reports. So for originality reports, this is like a turnitin.com where the student can pass their, like if they're doing an essay, for example, the student can pass their essay through the originality report 3 times. So if they pass it in the first time, it'll say, this paper has 80% problems. That means they didn't cite something. That means they just went to a website and copy and paste it. They're looking out in the internet to see, you know, did you cite, did you just copy and paste this, all that kind of stuff. So, and they can run it through 3 times, and then when they turn it into you, you can run it through. So that is how originality reports work. However, this is not unlimited. So you can only turn this on 3 assignments per classroom per year. Okay, so there you go. So 3 assignments per class. So just be very, very picky about what assignments you put this on, but that's how originality reports work. When I'm ready to assign this, I have my assign button. The little arrow, the little caret also leads me to the rest, like save, draft, and schedule. Before I assign it, and we go through the rest of the ones pretty quickly, I'm going to go to chat and see. One student submits works from Google Doc. Tasha, we're getting there, baby. We're getting there. All right, so we're going to go to assign. And it will assign to the student. All right, so there you go. The rest of the things you can assign are quiz assignment. This is for newbies to Google Forms. If you're not new to Google Forms, you should never be clicking that button. These are people who are new to Google Forms. What it does is it puts a Google form here for you that's already set up like a quiz. And it's just for those people that kind of want to get started with Google Forms pretty quickly. But once you learn more and more and more about Google Forms, you're going to go to Google Forms and set up all your form, and you're not really going to use this. So that's what that is. You also have locked mode on Chromebooks. So if you have managed Chromebooks, and only if you're using a Google form, you can click that and the students will not be able to get to anything except for that test. Now, if you put links in your Google form, like a link to a passage or something like that, then you cannot use this. Now, there are definitely tips and tricks for being able to use this, but I can't get into that right now. You can also, if any of your students could possibly be using laptops, do not use this, because if you turn this on and your student goes to a laptop, it will not let them in. It will only let them in on Chromebooks that are managed by your district. So just keep that in mind. So that's that. We also have question. This is literally a question. You have short answer or multiple choice. This is not a right or wrong question. Not a right or wrong question. That's when you use a Google form. So this is a bell ringer, an exit ticket, I just want a survey question. So for short answer, you just put the question here, and you have 2 options. And I didn't forget about the create button. I am getting back to that. But you have 2 options. The students can reply to each other. So even if I turn commenting off, Can the students reply to each other just for this question? And then students can edit answer. So you can, yes, I want them to self-edit themselves. No, because if they put something inappropriate, they can edit it and I will never know. So I'm just gonna put, what is your favorite color? And I'm putting this for a reason because I need to show you something on the student side. All right, so that's question. You have create material. These are your resources. These are things that you want to give to your student and you do not need them back. This is the link to the textbook. This is your math table. This is your whatever you want to give to them and you don't need it back. This may even be the spelling list. Like, I don't need it back. I just need to give it to you. So that's what material is. And then you have reuse post. So this is why I was telling you not to delete anything that has content in it. This is also why I was telling you that you want to put the school year on it. Because if you create an awesome assignment, you could just simply reuse it. So I can come here and click reuse post. It shows me all of my Google Classrooms, including the ones that are archived, right? So I can come to, let's say this one. I don't know if anything is in there. Anything in this one. I can come to it, and then I want to reuse this assignment. So I'm going to click reuse. It brings up the assignment so I can make sure that all my links are still working, put a new due date, all that good stuff. And then I'm going to hit assign. Now, while I'm here, I also want to show you the create button. What the create button does is the exact same thing as going to Google Drive and creating it from here. So it's something that Google Classroom added just to make it a little bit easier for you, that you don't have to go to Google Drive. So if I wanted to create, let's say, an assignment using Docs right here, I can come here, it's going to open up the doc for me, and now I can create it. And notice it already already put it here. So that's just a little help. So I'm going to go ahead and assign this. All right. So those are all of the things you can do to assign. But Desiree, what in the world is this? It says essays is really big and blue, and it looks like this is how you organize your Google Classroom. Well, yes, you are correct. Those are called topics. So with topics, this is how you organize this hot mess of assignments right here. Okay, it helps you organize and it helps your students stay organized. So I can come here and create, for example, I can create one for spelling. I can create one per, oh, I have no clue what I just clicked. Okay. I can create one per 6 weeks if I want to. It's really up to you how you want to organize your Google Classroom. Now, when you are creating assignments and all of this other stuff, you see that you have topic right here. You can come here and choose a topic, or you can create your own topic right here. So I'm going to put this under spelling. So that's how you use topics. With topics, you can drag and drop them now to organize your topics how you want to organize them. You can also filter your topics, and your students can do this as well. So if you're like, well, you know what, I only want to see the third 6 weeks right now. It's too much stuff on this screen. I can click here, and now I'm only seeing the stuff in the third 6 weeks. I'm going to go back to all topics. Any assignment that you do that does not have a topic, it sits here at the top. You can move them into a topic. You cannot move them out. You can move them to another topic, but you cannot move it out. So just keep that in mind. So that's how you do topics. Any questions before we get to the student side and then how you do grading? Okay, let's see. Okay, we're going to get to grading. How do I see the work submitted? Yep, we're going to get to all that. Is there a way to sort assignments in reuse post? Nope. You just click on the class, and then it's going to show you all the assignments from the class. So reuse post, click on the, oh, I'm like, what is this? Click on the class, and then you just, you just kind of scroll through and try to find the one you're looking for. That's why it's so important to name your stuff as, specific as possible. What if I wanted to pull something from Google Drive, then edit or change it in the assignments? That you would edit or change it in Google Drive. And then it's going to automatically change for the student because Google automatically updates. Do you suggest using topics to organize units? Yes. The only thing that you cannot do right now is use subtopics. So I couldn't say third 6 weeks and then do a topic under here called spelling. So that's why you need to kind of pick a pattern and stick with it. If I'm doing 6 weeks, then it should only be first, second, third, 6 weeks. If I'm doing topics, if I'm doing assignments, like do something and stick to it. Within the topic, can you have I just answered that. Yep, no folders. Unfortunately, not right now. We're asking for it, believe me. How do we delete an assignment or part of an assignment? Okay, I can show you that. I missed filtering topics. I'm sorry. Yep, it's right over here. So all of your topics will be over here. So you just click on the one you want to filter. And now I'm only seeing the ones in third 6 weeks. And then I'm going to go back to all topics. It sorts it by date, most recent. Yeah, okay, gotcha. Like first 9 weeks topic inside, topic reading inside. No, it doesn't do that, Christine. I wish it did. No. Okay, so there you go. That's topics. That's all that good stuff. Now let's look at the student side, and then let's look back at grading and all that, and we will be done. Okay, so student side. I'm gonna refresh my screen, make sure my students can see everything. So my student sees my announcement, all that good stuff. I'm going to go to classwork. So this is how the student sees all of your classwork. Notice that they can filter the things too. So if they come here to worksheet, for example, they see the rubric, they see all the stuff that I gave to them. Some students will just click on this and go to town. I've been trying to lead the path to tell them to click view assignment, because when they click view assignment, this is where their grade is going to be and all that kind of stuff. So I like them to go into here because they can see, they can do a class comment. And I notice this is to the whole class. And then they have a private comment, which is here just to the teacher. When they're ready to go ahead and open their work, they'll come here. They'll go ahead and type whatever work they need to type. And the main thing that you may need to tell them, because students don't see this and it looks grayed out, is the turn in button. So a lot of your students will come here to share, and then you're going to start getting 1,000 emails of people sending you stuff. Tell them, do not hit the share button, hit turn in. When they hit turn in, it comes straight back to your Google Classroom. They hit turn in again, and here you go. If they ever need to edit something, they have an unsubmit button where they can click that, unsubmit it, and edit it until the due date hits. When the due date hits, the unsubmit button goes away. This was fun, because that's what they tell you, right? All right, so then they can click on all this and see it, because remember, all they can do is see this stuff, right? So they're just able to see it. So my student just turned in my work. 2 other things when it comes to my students is I told them to tell me what they did last summer, but I did not give them a blank Google Doc. I'm not going to have 50 blank Google Docs sitting in my Google Drive, because your students have an add or create button, just like you do. So the student can actually click here and add or create stuff. So if I want them to tell me this, I'm going to, in my directions, I'm going to say create a new Google Doc, blah, 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 blah. So they can just come here. Notice they can add stuff from their computer as well. They're just going to come here and create doc. It's going to put the title and their name on it, just like if I created it in a second. And then when they click here, they can go ahead and type in all their stuff, and they'll have their turn in button. Yay! Last but not least, when it comes to the student side, this is something I get emails about. All right, so I did a question for them, right? This is the thing. If you have it turned on to where students can comment to each other, a lot of your students say, what is your favorite color? They come down here, they type in the answer, which is, this is my answer. And then they say, okay, that's done. It's not done, because what you did is you commented to the class. You did not come here and answer my question. So you'll go and look at it and go, well, nobody answered the question. Why is nobody turning in their work? That's because they're not reading the screen. So this is something to warn your students about. So when I come here and click turn in, now only my students will see, only the teacher will see it, right? Now this is on there because of something else. I'll explain that later if I need to. But so now the teacher will see my answer, is turned in, and we're good to go. And then I can reply if I want to. All right, so just something else to keep in mind. All right. Oh, I'm on my student account. Back to the teacher account. I want to start grading stuff. Let's see, I think I have one question in the chat. Can I see the student side? No, you cannot, Teresa. I have the student side because I'm a Google admin. So the only way you can see the student side is to log in with a student account or ask your Google admin to send you a dummy student account. Good question. All right, so I want to start grading stuff. So I want to grade their worksheet first. So I'm going to come, this is beyond the grades tab. We're going to come here to worksheet. I see that one student turned it in. It was only assigned to one student, so 0 is not assigned to anybody anymore. I'm going to click on one of these numbers, either one. It really doesn't matter which one you click on. So this is the grading screen, and then we have a second grading screen. So this is my grading screen. The reason why this is in bold is because they turned it in. It's going to be it's not going to show up at all if they haven't turned it in yet. And then you can hover over it and you'll see the blank out of 50. But it's in bold telling you, hey, the student turned it in. This is where you see the student comment. Remember, the student said this was fun. There you go. I can come here and click on all of my students' work will be right here in boxes, right? So I can come here and click on my student work. This is my second grading screen. So on this grading screen, you see what you're grading. So I'm grading worksheet. I can go from student to student without ever leaving this screen. I can even click here and choose which student I go to next, because sometimes I'm just not in the mental health to grade Johnny's paper, right? I need to just get some sleep first and talk to family. I just can't grade Johnny's paper right now. So I can choose other people. I'm gonna grade Marissa because she shows me that I taught, right? So I can come here, I can do my regular commenting and all that good stuff. That's not part of Google Classroom specifically. I can come over here, I can see anything else that the student turned in. I can put a grade here. This is my rubric. So if you ever wonder, well, where does that rubric show up? Here you go. I can leave my student a private comment like, thanks. So my student will see that. So this is where I will come and do whatever I need to do. Now, if I need to see more, I'm going to click the caret to see what was medium, what was bad, that kind of thing, right? If you ever see this little arrow, that means they'll open up the rubric in another window so you can see it big. So this is how you come to grade. Whenever you grade, like if I put, I'm going to say you made a 45, you have to return it. So your final action is always return. Even if I wanted to leave the grade blank and maybe I did a private comment that said, redo this, please, or this is what you need to redo, I still have to return it. Okay, so return it back to them so they can see that this has been returned either with a grade or without a grade. So your final thing is always to return. Now there's something else right here that's called comment bank. So what a comment bank is if you keep using the same comments over and over and over and over and over again, you can add them to the comment bank. Now you can only use this comment bank when you're in Google Classroom. So I'm going to click add to bank. I'm going to say show your work for my math teachers. I'm going to say look at spelling for my English. I'm going to say, was this the right date for my history? And I'm going to say, show the steps of your experiment, or whatever you want to add, guys. And then just click add. It's going to add them all right here. And then when I'm doing a comment, so I'm going to highlight this, and this is a Google Drive thing, but just to show you how you use these, you're going to highlight and hit the little plus sign to add a comment that the student will automatically see. Now, if I want to use this, I can just start typing in the word like show, and they will all show up. And I can just click this and hit comment, so that the student will see this automatically. Excuse me. I can also come here and choose hashtag or number sign, depending on your age. It's both to me. And I can just put like W, and it'll show me everything that I have in here that has a W. So what is this supposed to be? Comment, right? So that's how you use your comment bank. So it makes it a little bit easier for you to do all of your comments to your students. And notice it's trying to warn me that I did not return this. You can also keep doing student grades and then come here to the arrow and say return multiple submissions. So I don't have to return per student. I can wait till the end and grade all 30 and then hit return. Hit the caret and hit return multiple submissions. So I'm just going to return this to the student. I'm going to hit return. And now on my student end, I'm just going to refresh just for time's sake. And now my student sees that they made a 45 out of 50. Okay. On their screen, like this, if they hit this, they see that it was graded. So they know to come here and hit view assignment. That's why I'm just trying to get them used to clicking view assignment for everything. And they'll see what they made. Now, one of the cool things with Google Classroom, if you're using Google products, not even Google products, if you're using Google Docs, Google Sheets, and Google Slides, I like to call them the aunts and uncles, the ones that get respect before you hit more. So if you're using these three and you assign it to the student, the cool thing is when you get here, you can actually click on it and see what the student is typing in real time. Now, that I did not say you can see the student's screen, because a lot of teachers go, oh, that's what I'm looking for. No, that's not what I said. I said you can see what they're typing. So if they're not working on it, if they're just sitting there watching YouTube videos, then you're just not going to see any typing at all. Okay, so, but you can see them actually working on it right here, if it's a Google product. All right. So that's how you grade things. And then we got our brand new tab called Grades. Let me look at the chat before I go through grades. One time I put Johnny's paper to the side because I wasn't in the, yes, I put many Johnny's papers to the side. Is there a way for students to see each other's work? Like if you want them to be able to see each other's slideshow, you would assign it to them as a group, and then they'll be able to see each other's work. How can students type on workbook pages in Google Classroom? It has to be a Google document. That's it, because everything else is an extension. So Tasha, if you want to talk to me after this, I can talk to you about Cami, which is the most popular one to annotate on top of like PDFs. But besides that, it has to be a Google product. I can show you how to make a Word document, a Google Doc. I can show you how to take a picture of the PDF and let Google type it for you, then you can edit it. I can show you all that. It's not really part of Google Classroom, but y'all know I stay on late and I can show you whatever you want to look at. I have to assess with oral responses for some of my students, so I can add their grades here. Yep, you can add their grades here. So you can click on the grades tab. The cool thing about the grades tab is you no longer have to go search for the assignment and find it. You can come here to grades and all of your assignments are sitting right up here, hyperlinked. So if I want to click on this, it brings me to the grading tab. So it's just a quicker way to get to all of your assignments. You can also come here. You see how it's grayed out, like I was telling you guys, like you can't even see it until you put your mouse over it. So that's telling me that that student did not turn that in yet. They did turn this in, but they did not turn this in. That doesn't mean I can't go and grade it. So I can come here and say you made 100. I can come here and say, yeah, whatever you did, it's going to be awesome. It's 100. And I can just grade it that. So it doesn't mean that I don't have to do that. Notice it says draft because what did I not do? I did not return it. So remember, return is always your last. You have to return it. So, and this one doesn't say draft because I returned that one already. So this is how you can come and grade student stuff. You can also, one of the things I really like about it is to get almost like a student progress report. So if I come and click on the student's name, it's going to give me a progress report. I mean, pretty much, right? So it tells me what the grade is. It tells me if they turned it in. It tells me if it's assigned. I can also filter it by these are all the things that he turned in, which one did I return, which ones are missing, that kind of thing. But I can print this out. I can right click on it and hit print. It prints out pretty well. You know, some stuff in Google doesn't print out because they don't want you printing it, but it prints out pretty well that I can, you know, send this or print it as a PDF and then email it or whatever you want to do. So there you go. You also have the little email student or guardian. That's if your students have emails and if you have added the guardian. So I can click there and just email it to them, type my message and hit send. I don't know what I just did. I didn't want to do that. Other thing I want to show you is when you are in the grading window, you have this gear and it looks just like the other gear, but it's not. So if I come here, because I'm in the grading window, this gear has different options for me. So this is where you can actually download your grades if you're not using Google as your main grade book. You can come here and download the grades if it's easier for you to upload your grades to, what I want to say, I just lost my train of thought, to your grading system. Like sometimes it's easier to like look at them and do it versus having two screens open. So just wanted to show you that you can do that here too. Last but not least, before we stop for questions, and well, I'll say all that later, is copy. You may have been like, she forgot something. I did not forget. Copy. So copy, I like to say, is when you start getting into intermediate or advanced uses of Google Classroom. But I do like to tell you what it is because it can definitely help you probably more for next year than this year. But what copy does is it will copy everything in your classwork tab in a brand new Google Classroom. So let me show you how this works. I'm not going to click copy because it does take a second to do it. But I have the new Google Classroom right here. And I have all this stuff in my classwork tab. Only classwork. It does not bring anything else except for classwork. So I have all this stuff, bell ringers, all this stuff in my new Google Classroom class. Oh my gosh, I just got out of it. All right, you just saw a tip. Right click, reopen, close tab. All right, so I made a copy of this, and when you make a copy, it calls it copy of, and it gives it the same title. So of course you can change that when you click on copy, it'll ask you if you want to change that. So you can change it there, or you can just come here and edit and change it. But what it does, guys, the reason why this is so awesome is that when it copies your classwork tab, it puts everything in draft mode. What that means is you can see it, but your students cannot see it. They cannot see it until you click it, hit edit, edit whatever you need to edit, and assign it. So what this means for my more intermediate user that I know I have some intermediates on here, what that means for you is that you can actually make templates of your Google Classrooms now. So I can make a template of my Google Classroom and use that same template from year to year for all of my classes, and everything will already be there. All I have to do is click it and click assign instead of like redoing it every time. You can also do classes for remediation. You can do classes for acceleration. So if I had my students, they would join my regular Google Classroom, my remediation class, and my acceleration class. So when Johnny comes up and says, oh, Miss Alexandra, I'm done with my assignment, I can say, oh, Johnny, click on the acceleration class. No, I probably wouldn't call it that, but click on the acceleration class and go to verbs, because that's what we're looking at right now, and do that assignment. And then go mark the board to tell me that you did it, so I can remember to go grade it and give you some bonus points, right? Or instead of bonus points, I can give you a homework pass because you already did extra work. Okay, so just little stuff like that is how you can use that copy. Now, for my newbies, if I just said something and you're like, huh? That's okay. That was more for my intermediate people that are in the class. Okay. I'm going to go to the chat and get some questions. Is there a way, okay, I answered that one. How can students, okay, I answered that one. I have to assess, okay, I'm so sorry, I went too far back. If you post an ungraded assignment, are they able to still submit a response? Yes, it's still an assignment, it just doesn't have a grade to it. Yeah, absolutely. I guess they can share, email their work with other students, especially a slideshow that a group may be completing together. They can do that in Google Drive. Yeah, Google Drive still, it's still the same rules for Google Drive. Template, like I do with lesson plan. Yes. Okay, so I just got a message that my internet connection is unstable, so hopefully it doesn't cut me off of Zoom. If it does, I'll be right back. Okay, so it did that to me yesterday, like right around this time. So I don't know what's happening in my neighborhood. But if it does cut me off, I'll be right back. Okay, so that is Google Classroom in a nutshell, everybody. Any questions? Go ahead and put them in the chat box. Questions only about Google Classroom. And then I'll get to the other questions and, all that good stuff. I'm still confused. Please help. I'm a facilitator for teachers, so I'm using Google Classroom to communicate and share files and videos with teachers. I know that you can only invite 20 teachers. Is there another way that I can share with more than 20? Okay, so Dana, when you go to people, you're not going to be inviting them as teachers. You're going to be inviting them as students. The only time you're going to invite them as teachers is if you want them to co-teach this class with you. So if I was inviting you to this Google Classroom because I wanted you to do stuff in it, you're going to be a student in my Google Classroom. The only time you invite them as a teacher is if you want them to actually teach with you. So that's your solution for that, unless it's not. If it's not, put it in the chat if I didn't understand. Okay, great, thanks, awesome. How can I invite someone outside of the school domain? Wendy, that is a question between you and your Google admin, unfortunately. The Google admin can do a walled garden is what it's called, and that means that no one can join your Google Classroom and you can't join other people's Google Classrooms outside of your domain. They can lift that, okay? Now they can lift it per account or they can lift it for like just teachers. Personally, when I was the Google admin, I wouldn't lift it for students, but I would lift it for teachers, because when teachers went to conferences, people are like, join my Google Classroom. So you'll just have to talk to your Google admin about it. Or if you're not talking about students, you can use your personal Google Classroom. What is the best way that you suggest to submit assignments? What do you mean submit assignments, Carla? Clarify that for me. Thanks, this is a lot of great stuff, but pretty clear to understand. Good, Mary. Advise we go back and view the video again. Of course, our district is, okay, perfect. So if I assign a class a slideshow assignment and I didn't make it a group assignment, is it too late for students to see each other's work? Karina. Good question. Okay, so let me answer Karina's and keep adding those questions, guys. Okay, so I do want to show you something that is like like you're going to want to pull your hair out, and it sucks, but I need to show it to you. So when you assign whatever you're assigning, when you assign it, you can come here to the little hot dogs. Oh, that's for the whole. No, I just want for the assignment. Sorry. These are the hot dogs for the whole topic. But if I come to worksheet, notice you don't see hot dogs until you move your mouse over it. But I can come here and I can edit it. Now, when you edit, certain things go away. And it's so like beat myself in the head. So certain things go away. Notice I cannot send this to multiple classes anymore. So what I would have to do if this was first period, I would have to go to second period, reuse the post from first period, and then I can assign it to other classes. One of the things that's the most annoying is after you assign it, if you chose the wrong one right here, the third option, the option that you're usually going to be looking for, goes away. There is nothing you can do to get it back. I'm praying one day it will be. But if you add the assignment again, if you go and change the name of the assignment, nothing. So even if I add a brand new assignment, y'all, even if I come here, I'm going to create one, just brand new. So I add a brand new assignment. Where is it? That third option is not there. So once you assign, there is nothing you can do besides creating this all again, or going to second period, reusing post, changing it, going back to first period, reusing post from second period, and then you'll have it right. It is one of the biggest headaches for Google Classroom. Oh, I'm sorry. Get that off the screen. Let's see. That's the first video from, yeah. Let's see. Chat. How, wait, if I, can I edit and resubmit? Okay, I think that's what I just said. How to turn off student comments in streaming. Okay, that's going to be your gear again. So if you come to gear, under stream, you have these three options. If you don't want them commenting, you choose only teachers can comment and post. Desiree, I need to go. I got an email from, can I, of course, Sandra. Thank you. Can you please show us how to convert a PDF? Yes, well, yeah, yes and no for that one. I know, Mary. It's just like, okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to officially end the class. Now, for those people that wanted to see how to convert, for those people that wanted to see the where to go to get to the Google Drive Basics class, all that good stuff, I'm going to get to you in a second, but it is officially 3 o'clock, and we have completed the official Google Classroom class. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video on, and I'm going to continue to answer some of these questions that we have. Okay, I don't see any other questions in the chat. So everybody's signing in, everybody's doing the evaluation, and I'm going to answer the question about how to switch things over. Oh, it did it again. This doggone thing, I swear. Monica, I don't provide handouts for Google. Google updates too often, but they do have videos. Like this whole thing is going to be in a video, and Google has videos. Everybody has videos. But yeah, as soon as you update, like Google just updated, so all my handouts would have been obsolete. All right, so how do I turn a Word document into a Google Doc? So first and foremost, you can do these three. You can change a Word document into a Google Doc, you can change Excel into Sheets, and you can change PowerPoint into slides. You cannot change PDFs. You cannot change, I can't say pictures anymore because that's OCR. So you can actually change pictures, but you cannot change PDFs. So that's you can try it. It started getting a little bit better, and now it got worse again. So you can't change PDFs right now. So I mean, you can try, always try. So how do you change it? I have this Word document, so I'm gonna click New, File, Upload, and I'm gonna go and find my Word document that I want to bring into my Google Drive. I can double click it. Once I get this green check mark, it tells me that my Word document is in my Google Drive, wherever that may be. All right, so once I get that, let me move my little toolbars in the way. So once I get that, if I double click it, all it's going to do is show it to me. So I need to change it to a Google Doc. You have two ways to do that. I'm just going to show you the first way, and then if you want to see the second way, I can. So right click on it, and go to Open with Google Docs. Now that used to be the only thing you had to do, but you do have a second step now. So I'm gonna let that process. How y'all do? All right, so what this does is Google now allows you to edit Microsoft. So what that just did is it kind of halfway converted it, but it's still a it's still a Microsoft document. So I have a second step to do to really make this a Google Doc. I'm going to come here to File and go to Save as Google Docs. Once I do that, it's going to open this up, and now this is a Google Doc. This Google Doc lives in my Google Drive. Notice I have the Word document, but now I have the Google Doc. And this is the one that I want to send. Notice this one says .docx and this one doesn't. This one also has the Google Docs icon, and this one has the Word icon. So this is the one that I would send to my students so they can edit it. The second way you can do this is if you double click the Word document open, you have your Open With button up here as well. So Open with Google Docs, and you'll go through the same process. All right, I see we have some questions. And then if you want me to show you OCR, which is letting Google type what's on pictures, I can do that for you in a second. If I'm a paraprofessional, should I put teacher or just choose no? Mandy, I'm not sure what we're talking about there. Is this an extension that no, this is just part of Google Drive. Please do it again. Took a small break. Jacqueline, it is going to be on the video, but I can do it again. She's talking about the signing in. I chose no. Oh, you can choose it. I just mean educator. Are you an educator in Louisiana? You don't have to be a teacher in the classroom. Yeah, are you a teacher? Are you an educator? Are you a principal? Do you work on the campus in Louisiana? Yeah, you can absolutely choose yes. So let's see. Okay, so do it again, and then if y'all want to see OCR, let me know. RP. Oh, that's okay, Jesse. If y'all have any other questions too, just let me know. You know what? I'll write your name down, Jesse, and I'll change it to yes for you. Jesse, Kimball, yes, teacher, LA. Not a big deal at all. I want to see OCR. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do this again for, I think it was Jacqueline. So Jacqueline, I brought in my Word document, stop it folder. New file upload, go find what you're looking for, double click it, it's going to come in here. Then I'm going to right click on it, go to Open with Google Docs. When I do that the first time, it's actually opening up the Word document for me to edit. So it's not a Google Doc yet. It's not going to have a separate file for me just yet. But if I go to File, Save as Google Docs, now this is a Google Doc. I have way too many windows open, it bothers me. I have a Google Doc. So in my Google Drive, this is, in my Google Drive, this is my new Google Doc. So that's how that works. Okay, so I had somebody that asked to see OCR. So what OCR does, guys, is it allows you to take either a JPEG or a PNG. It does have to be JPEG or PNG. Some of your newer iPhones have .heic. That will not work with this. So you can turn that off too on your iPhone. If you want to know, just let me know. I can show you. I can lead you to turn that new file type off. So it has to be a JPEG or PNG. You will bring it into your Google Drive, just like I just brought in that file, and it's going to type all of the words on the picture for me. So this is an example of a handout. This is a test. I just took this with my phone. You can see my leg in the corner. When I got dressed for work, you know, those olden days that we had. So this is the Most Dangerous Game, literary analysis. So this is a test. These are some handwritten notes. And this is a flyer that I took at one of my schools in Louisiana. So what you do to get Google to type all of the words from your picture for you is you bring it in, you right click on it, go to open with Google Docs. Now that's all you have to do, that one step. If you double click on it and go to open with, Google Docs will not be there. So you have to remember to right click on it, open with Google Docs. And I actually have this on a video. I mean, you're going to have it on this video too. But I have a video about this. I'm going to show you the resources. Open with Google Docs. So I'm allowing all three to open. Now this works with, what do I want to say? This works with text, not with images. So if you have charts and graphs and all that kind of stuff, this is not going to work. It works with text. So let's give this a second. So what it's going to do is it's going to put the picture, now this is a Google Doc, it's going to put the picture up here at the top for me whenever it's, looks like it should be done. Let me refresh my screen. Technology, the awesomeness of technology. All right, so it's going to put the picture up here at the top for you. Please come on. So whenever that picture loads, but you can click here and delete the picture. So you can click here and delete the picture. Thank you. Thank you for showing up. We appreciate it. You can click here and delete the picture if you don't want the picture anymore. Now, as I scroll down, you'll see that Google typed all the words for me. Now, I have to edit it, like make it all black. You know, like kind of come here and say like, I don't know where A is. Is this? Oh, this is A. Duh. You know, do this kind of thing. So I do have to format it, but I don't have to type this whole thing again. And what this means is anything that you can take a picture of, you can now have electronically. Mind blown, right? But you see like these visuals, like the lines, it didn't do the lines. So anything that's a pictorial, it's not going to take. So these are my handwritten notes. It typed it. Google Forms, Google Forms. Go to Google Drive, go to Google Drive. Then Google Forms, then Google Forms. Type title, type title. Google thought this little squiggly line was Questo, and it kind of does look like Questo under there. I'm thinking it was question. Directions, so you can see these are my handwritten notes. And then you have the flyer that I wasn't quite sure if it would work because it has a picture behind here and all that good stuff, but it typed the words just fine. So I have the whole flyer that I can edit and do what I want to with it. So this is a game changer when it comes to, you know, like creating stuff electronically for your students. I'm also going to do a 5-minute video either today or tomorrow about Awesome Screenshot. It's a really nice screenshot tool where you can screenshot and then like put arrows and gray stuff out and all that kind of stuff. All those types of videos are on my YouTube channel. If you come here and go, I'm gonna send this link out though, presentations, teaching, distance learning. I put a whole bunch of distance learning tools together, guys. So this helps you tremendously. And it's not like just everything under the, you know, under the sun. It's just stuff that I have found to be very, very helpful. Like learning from home and stuff to tell your parents and things like that. But right here, the 5-minute tips, that's where you can go and get the OCR video. Any of the videos that I'm creating, like how to use Google Meet, how to use Google Calendar so your students can set up appointments with you, all that kind of stuff. Here's OCR. So all those kind of videos are here for you. So a lot of resources on here. I am going to send you this link if you signed in or if you registered. So that's how you get the materials. Okay, I'm going back to the chat to answer any questions. Scrolling up, scrolling up, scrolling up. Okay. Okay, well, I already answered. Is this, okay, I answered that. Please do, okay, I answered that. Want to see OCR, okay. Will there be a webinar on creating Google Sheets? Not from me, but I mean, we can do one, but it's not on my calendar. Let me put it like that right now. The eval link isn't working. That's Jesse. That's because I made a mistake and didn't put the bit.ly on it. So it's not on the screen. Okay, Jesse, I just typed in the real one. You are awesome. Thanks for this webinar. You're very welcome, Anthony. Let me scroll back up to get the questions. The link isn't working. Got that one. How can I convert a workbook page to Google Doc? You're not. How do I take worksheets and convert them to Tasha? Exactly what I just showed you is what you can do. That's it. Okay, if it's a PDF, you can take a picture of it and do it. If what I showed you is what you can do. I'm sorry. Now you can use extensions. I can show you Cami right quick. Nicole, awesome. It looks like we can't. There you go. How did you get to the OCR again? Oh, actually, Tasha, it's just part of Google Drive. So if you just throw a picture in here, that's it. Just do the steps I just showed you. There's nothing for you to do. Right click, open with Google Docs. This would be cool if it would translate my ELL students writing for me. Okay, I can show you that, Mary. Thanks for everything. It's OCR free. Yep, it's part of Google. It's part of Google Drive. So Mary, and then I can show you Cami if y'all are interested in that. So Mary, when you talk about translation, I'm actually doing a translation tools webinar for a school district tomorrow. So it's funny that you brought that up. So if they wrote in, let's say, Spanish, you want to translate it to English, or they wrote in English, you want to translate it to Spanish, whatever, you can actually translate pretty easily in Google Docs and other tools. But I can come here. I'm trying to delete this picture and it won't let me, right? It's just going really slow now. So I can come here to Tools and go to Translate Document. I can change the name, but I can choose so I'm just going to say Spanish. I know a little Spanish, so I don't know if it's kind of, I know some words. Translate, and what it does is it still has your English one or your original one here, and then this is the translated document here, and it saves the translated document to your Google Drive. So what I've been told is that it's good enough. Like, it's not perfect, but it's good enough to say, like, do this, do that. If you're going to send this to a diplomat, then you may want to get somebody that speaks that language and reads in that language to see it. But it's good enough for what you'll be using it for. So there you go. I don't know if you really asked that question, but I showed it to you. I don't know if that was something you were interested in at all. I agree with Anthony. Oh, thank you, Yolanda. Oh, wow, says Mary. Yay. I did not know this. This is great. Fabulous. Okay, good. I need to stop these webinars. I'm never going to get to work, to other work, but I can do like a translation. Well, there's a lot of stuff on my website, guys. Like, if you go to presentations, where's the differentiation one? Tech tools, differentiation using G Suite. It kind of tells you like some extensions to help to differentiate for your students, how to do closed captions, how to translate. So it kind of just shows you some stuff. Some stuff you actually need me for to explain what it is. Or you can just like search, like, how do I do this, and search. But this is a really nice, what do you call that? A really nice class or webinar. And I'm doing the translation tools. The translation tools is actually using Google and Microsoft tomorrow, but it's only for a certain school district, so I can't invite the public to that one. So let's see. Fabulous. Yay. What about their writing too, if they wrote phonetically? What do you want to happen to their writing if they write phonetically? Will information be on the record? Yeah, that's why I keep this recording during questions. So yes, this will be on the recording. Yeah, I can answer Google Forms question and I'll keep the recordings going. Closed captions, that is awesome. Yep, closed captions you can actually do on a presentation. And then if you use, what am I trying to do? Let me just open it up again because I need to delete all this stuff. Closed captions you can do on a Google slideshow and on PowerPoint if you download Microsoft Translate. So if I come here to my Google slideshow, and let's say I want to record this, like let's say using Screencastify, which I showed y'all during the video one yesterday. So if I wanted to record this using Screencastify, what I would do is I would come here to present, and then my little toolbar down here, I'm actually going to hit closed caption. And then as I talk, it's going to put the words on the screen. So as long as I am either loud or as long as I'm by my microphone, it's going to not record, but it's going to type what I'm saying. So if I'm recording this, then my students can see the slideshow, they can hear my voice, and they can get this closed caption. Now I can come here to the little caret, and I can change this to let's say extra large. If it was to, I don't know why I said large like that, but extra large. I can also come here and move it to the top instead of the bottom. So you have different options as well. Now this does not record, but it does show it on the screen. But if you use something like, again, Screencastify to record your screen, then you are recording it. So that was closed caption. When viewing student responses on Google Form, is there a way to view them by separate classes? When I assign a form, for example, to all 3 of my 6th grade classes, it shows me all the responses instead of individual classes. Okay, so Emily, what most people and what I definitely do is you can do a couple of things. Hold on, Emily, I'm getting to you because there's a couple of things you can do. They might write letters that sound like something I can understand but not really clear. Mary, I'm not sure about that. I'm sorry. It's something I can definitely look into. So if you email me that question, I can kind of ask around and see. It's just not something that's coming to the top of my head right now. Okay, so going back to, I think it was Emily's question. So a couple of things you can do when you run into that problem. One thing is in Google Forms, one thing is in Google Sheets. So first and foremost, how teachers usually use Google Forms is they will create their test, make a copy for each period. So that way each class period has their own test. And that way, first period is only on first period, second period is only on second period, third period is only on third periods. So that's the kind of bottom basic way to separate your responses. Everybody's on their own responses. Now, what you can do if you have everybody on the same spreadsheet right now, if you asked some kind of question like class period, right? If you didn't, maybe you can do it by timestamp if you didn't, but I'm going to insert and act like I asked a question. Oh, okay. So I'm going to say class period. I'm going to act like I asked that question. Just roll with me. So this is second period. This is third period. This is first period. This is third period. And this is third period. Okay, so what I can do, and I may be answering a question that you already know, and I apologize if I am, but just to, where did my 3 go? What's happening? All right, so I may be answering something you already know, but, so if you're in the slideshow, I can come here and click this button to highlight the whole thing, and then I can come here to data, and this is going to be on the recording. I can come here to data and go to sort range. And I'm going to click data has a header row. So I'm going to sort by class period. And then I'm going to sort by, let's say, last name. So what this does is it puts my data in the order that I'm looking for. So it put all my first period together, all my second period together, all my third period together. And then within my third period, it's going to put them in alphabetical order by last name. So that's something you can do right now to help you out. Even if you only wanted to see a certain class period, I can come here, go to data, create a filter. I can come here to class period and say, clear, I only want to see third period right now. So now I'm only seeing third period, and I know that this is filtered because you see how these are blank and this one is filled up. So now I see that these, I'm only looking at third period. If I want to delete that filter, I can just say select all again, and now I'm seeing everybody. So just a couple of things you can do with the data that you have right now. And then in the future, you may want to come here and do the individual Google Forms. Okay, I'm going back to the chat, guys, to see if we have any other questions. Can I use closed caption in Spanish? Christy, good question. In Google, no. In Microsoft, yes. So in Microsoft, once you download Microsoft Translate, so you have to go get Microsoft Translate, and you come here to the slideshow tab, you'll see always present with subtitles. So if I click that, that means next time I hit present, I'll have subtitles at the bottom. And then, let's see, where do I go to change the language? Start subtitles. What language will you be speaking? English. What language do I want subtitles in? I want them in Spanish. Next. You can also translate the slides and things like that. So it's a whole bunch of translation tools, y'all. Okay, whenever you're ready. Okay, I'm gonna let that go. And then when I come here and present, I will talk in English, but you'll be typing in Spanish. Oh, this is not my first, whatever. I can't with this stuff. So we'll come back to that and see if it works. But that's what you would do. And you have to go to Microsoft Translate. Just Google Microsoft Translate, and you'll have to download it if you want it on your computer. I think it's already part of like Microsoft Office 365 if you're using the online one. Would be awesome, something for the education world to think about. Yeah, you can do it. Can you turn notifications on for certain students and not the whole class? Mandy, nope. You cannot. And your students can actually turn off their notifications too, but no, you can't. Amazing. I'm loving this. Oh, good. There's so much out there, y'all. There's so much out there. I'm telling you, like I can sit here for an entire day. Well, I do have day classes, but they're paid, but I can sit here for a day and do this stuff. So another, I'm just gonna show you one more. There's so much. Okay, and then I know you're like, I want to leave. I have a life, Desiree. There's something else you can use. It's an extension, but it only works with websites. So it's not going to work with like your Google Docs and stuff like that. But if I went to, I'm just gonna click on something. There's always horrible stories on here. But if I have the extension called Immersive Reader, so you can write that down. It's also it's on here, Immersive Reader. All of these are really good, guys, for your students. Oh my gosh. For differentiation, yeah, so this whole site is so good. All right, so Immersive Reader is also on my mind-blowing Google extensions list. So what Immersive Reader will do is I have to get the chat box off my screen for a second. So if they highlight, right click and say, help me read this, it's going to bring this up. So with this, you can do different things. So you have text preferences where they can make the size bigger or smaller. They can increase spacing if they have a hard time reading this. They can, change the font. They can change the background color pretty quickly. They can also click here. They can see it in syllables. They can also come click here and it can color coordinate the nouns, verbs, adjectives, and all that kind of stuff. They can click here and do their line focus. So if they only need like that one line at a time kind of thing. Stop being blue. Oh no, turn that off. So I can do that. I don't know, picture dictionary. I've never really, let's see. Oh, there it is. So you just have to click on the word and it shows them a picture dictionary. It also says the word for them. It also reads them. I don't turn the country out. And you can translate. So if I say translate this into Chinese simplified, I can do it by word, where if they click on the word, it'll translate it. Or I can say translate document, and it does the document, and then this is the original. right? I mean, there's so much out there, y'all. I love this stuff. Okay, so there you go. And that was Immersive Reader. There's so much stuff. Yes, I'm definitely still recording. Let me make sure. Yes, I'm definitely still recording. Okay, so I'm scrolling up. Okay, can you show us Cami? Will do. Yes, so much. When I'm filling my days with training, catching up. Yeah, there's so much. I need to make me an amazing educator. Oh, you already are an amazing educator. It is so much. I can't keep up. There's so much, guys. That's why I'm recording. Like, so just take small bites. Being homebound is kind of a blessing in disguise. Now this is amazing. She has more trainings on her site. I do. I have so much stuff, y'all. I have so much stuff. So on even that, like, I have my YouTube channel, but I tried to separate it in the distance learning. So like if you scroll down to Educator Alexander, you have the 5-minute tips. And then you have all the webinars that I've done, like years of webinars here that I've done and that other people have done. Like this one this weekend was so good. So, oh, I didn't put her name. I need to put her name with Jessica Reed. I need to put her name on that. But there's so many here, guys. There's a Google Classroom one, like I already done. There's Google Forms. There's all kind of stuff on here. And then if you go to these, like this is a whole playlist on how to use Google Chrome and Chromebooks, a whole playlist about Google Drive. There's so much that I try to give. Sometimes it's overwhelming, but you can just take it at your own, take it at your own leisure. I think I'll put the differentiation right here too. So I'll put that, I'll add that right here, the differentiation thing. But there you go. All right, Cami. Let me write that down because I'm gonna forget. Add differentiation to, I spelled that completely wrong, to distance learning site. Okay, so with Cami, what Cami does is it will allow your students to annotate on top of PDF, pictures, and all that good stuff. So like this is an example of a PDF. You do have to download the Cami extension, and your students will also have to download the Cami extension. You download extensions from the Google Chrome Web Store. If you're here, mind-blowing Google extensions or differentiation, these links, is Cami on here? Do I not have Cami on here? Google Translate. That's another one that helps you translate websites and all that kind of stuff. Read and Write is a really good one. I don't have Cami on here? I guess maybe I don't think of it as a differentiation tool, but I can add it. So, but you go to the Google Chrome Web Store. These are all extensions that I suggest. Where's Cami? Did I pass it? There you go. So there's a little intro video for how to use Cami, and then if you click, like this is where you should be in the Google Chrome Web Store, and you would click Add to Chrome, and then it's going to ask you for your firstborn child. Say yes, and then Cami will live up here. Now, when you have Cami, when your students have Cami, if they open up, oh, I hate all of these stuff on tabs. Oh, that makes it better to move the little toolbar. If they open up, I have no clue where the PDF was. Okay, so if you open up the PDF, I can click Open with Cami. Now, when you do this, I'm sure I left this stuff open for a reason, but oh well, I'll worry about it later. When you do this and you download Cami, you're also going to see Cami in your Google Drive. So once you download it, you'll see Cami assignment. So that's, I skipped it. Oh no, I forgot, it's a paid thing now. So you'll see it, but you can't use it because it's paid. So unless you want to pay for it. But your students, you can still send it to them and they can just open with Google, open with Cami, like I just showed you, not a big deal. So like all this stuff that you see, I did with Cami. So you can highlight stuff, you can annotate. The ones with the little locks on it are the things that you can't do for free. But honestly, guys, and first of all, they're such a good company. I love Cami as a company. But honestly, the stuff that you want to do is free. And I'm not sure, a little tip is with all these companies, Google the company name with COVID-19, and it usually will come up with like, what are they giving out for free? Okay, so just a little tip for now. So Cami, I'm sure, is giving out, you know, look, free school-wide access to Cami. And then they usually say like fill out a form or something. So type the product name, COVID-19, and you'll see what they're giving away right now. So Cami is free if you fill out that form and do that, whatever they're asking. But yeah, so this is everything you can do. So I can hit text box and I can click it whenever it feels like clicking and typing it. I can come here and what I want to do, I want to mark up, and I want to do a highlighter in yellow. Let's do red. So now it's a box highlighter. I can do like the text highlighter and just come and kind of do that, and it highlights just the text for me. So you have all this you got strike through, you have all this stuff that you see, except for the ones with the little things that you can do, and it automatically saves to Google Drive. So if first of all, automatically, you can see it already saved, but you do have your little save button, you have your download button and all that. And then your students can turn this back into you in Google Drive, in Google Classroom. That is Cami in a nutshell. Okay, I'm scrolling up to get the questions. I answered those. Okay. Yep, she has more. Kurzweil, if you don't already know, check it out. Yeah, we used to use Kurzweil a lot. You rock. Thank you. Okay, so thrilled to have this recording. Your website, everything. You're very welcome.